very first question is for Jillian. Yes.
Yes.
Nervous now.
Oh, don't worry. How does Sally's difficulty accepting love in her own life affect the way she struggles with accepting Joe?
Ooh, you're coming in with the good questions. I mean, yeah, I think that's very interesting. I talked to Anna a lot before we started shooting about her backstory, stuff that would never appear on screen, but for me would help sort of shape the character. And we kind of thought of her as this, like, she had like a few years where she felt like beauty queen, where she felt like, you know, what a woman should be. And since then, since having a kid, she sort of lost it and is always trying to get it back. And I think that you hit the nail on the head, is that she is never really getting the love that she wants because she's looking at it in such a vain way. And so her kid wanting to be a boy, I think would shake her entire world. It's, you know, she internalizes that as she did something wrong, as opposed to, oh wow, I have a kid who really knows who they are. And that's a special thing, because I don't think that Sally ever really knew who she was.
Yeah, absolutely. Both Sally and Troy definitely love their child, but I think that they sort of listen and hear their son very differently. Anna, how does this film show love in all its complicated forms?
Oh God. That's a hard one too. How does it show love in all its complicated forms?
Celebrate love in all its complicated forms.
Right. I think that, you know, sort of going back to something that Jillian touched on, I think, you know, you can only love other people as much as you love yourself. And I think especially, you know, this is a film that explores gender. It's about Joe's gender identity as a transgender boy. It's also about Sally's gender identity as a woman, and these attachments that we have to who we think we should be and who we think the other people that we love in our life should be, you know, and that's about ego, right? Yeah. So I think that, you know, I was interested in exploring how does our own ego, how do our own preconceptions get in the way of us loving people that we do just naturally want to love and accept?
Yeah, it's beautiful. Jillian, let's talk about Sally's breakdown, or as I like to call it, breakthrough at the toy aisle, which was such a powerful scene. How did that feel? Was it just so cathartic filming that? And what does that moment mean to Sally?
Yeah, we actually shot that scene last. That was the last scene that we ended up shooting, and I was so grateful for it because, you know, I talked to Anna. I was shooting for only about 2 weeks, maybe 2.5 weeks, and throughout it, I was like, I feel terrible inside right now, and I can't tell if I'm feeling what the character's going through or I'm just a really bad actress. And I was really hopeful that I was just feeling the character, but it's undecided in this moment. I do feel like, though, it is one of those things where I just was taking on what that person must be holding within them and what they're carrying around, and it felt like a sickness. I was sort of just like so relieved that her arc goes the way it does, because without that, I just feel like she would have just been a villain, and I was like not interested in that type of a story.
I feel 100%.
I'm glad Anna didn't have that. I was like, thank God, thank goodness. Like, what a beautiful arc this character has.
Well, that's what I loved about this film so much too, is at the moment that you think it's going a certain way, it surprisingly takes you on, you know, it shows the minute you think it's going towards like a darker path, the light shines through, which is just beautiful. Anna, you told this story so gracefully, kind of playing around with time. And when we first see Joe's bedroom window open, we feel very differently about it kind of the second time around we see it. Can you just speak on why you wanted to tell this story, unfold the story the way that you did?
Yeah, I mean, honestly, it sort of had to do with the way that it came to me as a script. I've said a few times before in other interviews, when I started writing, I knew that I was setting it in this specific part of Montana, which is a place that I have a connection to, the Flathead Valley. But all I knew is that it started with a dad and his son on a horse. I didn't know that Joe was transgender. I didn't know that Troy, the father, had, struggles with mental health. And it sort of revealed itself to me. And there was something about that sort of like organic revelation and going back and forth from the present to the past that stayed in the script. And I just thought it was sort of more interesting to preserve that, it's like the mystery of who's this father and son and revealing the family situation that they're coming from.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Like I kind of mentioned earlier, I love when films kind of mix the dark and the light. I feel like this film is kind of a love story to sort of the ebbs and flows of the good and the bad in the world. What do you both want audiences to take away after watching Cowboys?
For me, I guess it's just that there is that dark and that light that you're talking about. No one's one thing. We're, multidimensional, and that families can look different, and that's beautiful, and truly just acceptance. I mean, I hope they watch this and can see all sides of it. I think that Anna did like a beautiful job with this script and handling how the father side, the mother side, and I love that they're traditionally the opposite. The mother is more caring, maternal, and I love this father-son journey.
Absolutely. And there's this one line, I'm not going to say it properly, I have it written down in my notebook, but there's that one line, Anna, that Sally says to Troy when they're in the kitchen, when they're sort of making out a little bit. And what is the line that Sally says about, you're supposed to like the nice things about me?
Right.
Yeah, exactly.
What an amazing, that like really got there. I was like, oh wow, we're learning who this woman is in this moment.
Oh, yeah.
Right.
Anna, what about
Right.
you? What do you want folks to take away after watching Cowboys?
Well, I like everything Jillian said. But yeah, I think, it's a portrait of a family, and to me it's also important that it's a movie that's set in rural America, and we're living in this super divided country right now, and I think it's important to remember that everyone is complicated no matter where they're from. And while it's very easy to categorize people in red and blue at the moment, people are not monolithic in what they believe. There's always exceptions, and you love what you're able to love and accept what you're familiar with and what you learn to love and accept. And does that make sense?
Yes, and that's what you get from the film. I mean, that's what I walked away, and I think that's why folks are just going to fall in love with this film, and it's just so relevant and relatable. And just thank you for making a gorgeous film.
Thank you.
I think that's my time, ladies, but it's been a pleasure, and have a lovely rest of your day.
You too.
What wonderful, thoughtful questions.